We can't wait to dive into Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros on this episode of Girls Gone Book Clubbin'. And buckle up, listeners, because we've got a lot to say about this one.
Everyone expected Violet Sorrengail to die during her first year at Basgiath War College, Violet included, but threshing was only the first impossible test meant to weed out the weak-willed, the unworthy, and the unlucky. Now the real training begins, and Violet's already wondering how she'll get through. It's not just that it's grueling and maliciously brutal, or even that it's designed to stretch the writer's capacity for pain beyond endurance. It's the new vice commandant who's made it his personal mission to teach Violet exactly how powerless she is, unless she betrays the man she loves. Although Violet's body might be weaker and frailer than everyone else's, she still has her wits and a will of iron, and leadership is forgetting the most important lesson Basgiath has taught her. Dragon riders make their own rules. But a determination to survive won't be enough this year, because Violet knows the real secret hidden for centuries at Basgiath War College, and nothing, not even dragonfire, may be enough to save them in the end.
Shivers.
I know.
It just gets me so excited.
I just finished this book yesterday and I was like,
I know.
I don't even know where to start, but we're going to dive in. We find out that Brennan is alive at the end of Fourth Wing. What did you think of the family dynamic as everyone learns he's alive? And how do you feel about their interactions and the development of that part of the story?
so this was a goodie. I think Violet, surprisingly, takes it in stride better than Mira and her mom do. And I say
Definitely.
surprisingly because we'll get to that a little bit in the rest of my answers. But she ends up being way more mad at Xaden than she is at Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, yeah, because he knew.
but Brennan's her blood.
Yes.
So I don't know. I just thought it was really like she has picked every single fight in this book she can with Xaden just because she
Mhm.
thinks she can.
Mhm.
But that's besides the point.
I feel like she was just so mad about the initial betrayal that everything, like it was like a trigger. Anything that he kept from her or lied about,
Yeah.
it just... Yeah.
Even like not even a bold-faced lie, just things that didn't even have anything to do with her. She was mad about. But anywho, that doesn't matter yet. But it does cause a lot of tension throughout essentially the whole book, really. Because we see Mira come back in, and she is, of course, mad at Brennan. She really doesn't say anything to Violet hardly about the situation. And she's like, I'm gonna punch you. And it was funny. I really like Mira. And Brennan, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he hates Navarre.
Yes.
Yeah.
It appears that he hates his mother
Yes.
for putting them all in this position, but kind of like that old saying, it takes two to tango. She didn't do all this herself, right?
Yes, but like he literally has changed his name so that she never found out.
Exactly. So the whole book, this is brewing. I mean, up until
The end.
the very last kind of twist that we see, I guess. So when they're fighting about who do we protect them, do we not protect them, when they believe Navarre's words are going to fail, and Brennan's like, why would we protect them? They never protect us. And I really liked that Violet and Mira were like, that's not the attitude to have. Like, we're going to protect them. There are people there. This isn't all just about mom, right? So
But at
I
the end
really
of the day,
liked,
it's still our mom.
exactly.
Yeah.
I really liked that it led this little family tension triangle around, and then of course the square when they get back to their mom.
Yeah.
So I think Rebecca did a really good job with this.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. Let's see. Yeah, Violet definitely took it the best. I was like, I don't know. I guess I still kind of thought that somehow their mom knew that he was alive. And so I was kind of surprised by how she felt so, or, it looks like she's so betrayed by the fact that, like, he's still alive. So that really surprised me. But it also showed, like, okay, she obviously cares more for her children than she lets on.
I think she had to put up this front because
She's
they
general.
were her weakness.
Yeah.
But she couldn't let
Yeah.
people know that.
Right.
So she had to be this big, tough general, and and make it look like I don't necessarily care what happens to them because
Yeah.
I don't want you to target my children.
Right,
Wrong, or indifferent. I think that's maybe how you're kind of supposed to view it.
Because even though, like, Mira is obviously more on her side than Brennan is,
Yeah.
I mean, she still told her mom. I mean, she was still trying to get Violet to go against her mom. Like, she tried to kill you at Parapet. You know that she has done these things, and you are still trying to save her. So that it really surprised me at the end when she sacrificed herself.
It surprised me to your point that there wasn't a rebuttal about that. I mean, her mom's signet was weather.
Yeah.
It's pouring rain out of the boot on the parapet,
Mm-hmm.
and then she
Mhm.
dies.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept waiting, I guess, for something
Yeah.
to be said, and nothing ever was. I did
Yeah.
kind of find that a little shocking, I guess.
Yeah. I think I felt bad for Violet's mom. I feel like she was doing the best she could. For one, they're her kids and she's going to protect them, even if that's not how they see it. As a mom, you just do the best you can with what you're given. And two, she's a general.
Yeah.
Even real life military has secrets that they're not going to tell you.
Exactly. Violet just kept getting hung up on everything.
Yeah. It did kind of break my heart, though, that her and Brennan couldn't mend their relationship at all before she died. Like, I was hoping for some kind of, maybe not forgiveness, but
Right.
I don't know.
I did like this portion. I'm sorry to interrupt, and I'm gonna get emotional because it's really sad. But when you find out, like, after she sacrifices herself, there was like unsent correspondence from her to her husband, and for a lot of the time in the book, I felt like she didn't give a shit about her husband either. Because she wouldn't let Violet go to the scribe's quadrant, and she basically like made it sound like the scribe's quadrant was beneath her. So I don't know. This really surprised me. But sorry, excuse me. It says most generals dream of dying in service to their kingdom. It's like it gets me emotional.
It's really sad.
Yeah, but you know me better than that, my love. When I fall, it will be for one reason only: to protect our children. So it just really surprised me that was in there, because I just never thought she felt that way about her kids.
Yeah, and after they rescue Violet from the torture, and she's talking to her mom coming up the steps, and Violet says, "You act like scribes are beneath you," and she says, "Violet, the love of my life was a scribe."
Yeah. So like the further you go, I mean, the more you find out like she's not as much this hard ass with no soul. She really does care about her family. So,
and like I think that plays to what you said, is she just has to act like she doesn't, because then they're her weakness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only way for her to protect them is to act like there's no cares.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
I don't know how. I mean, that would be hard.
Yeah.
As a mom, like that would be.
And your kid's hating you, but you.
In being so open about their
Yes,
hatred, and then it
yes.
rubbed me the wrong way that Brennan was like, oh, she's dead now.
I know.
You were a jerk to her the whole time.
Yeah.
I see both sides of the coin.
I know. I see it his way too.
Yeah. I thought also that you come to find out that the reason why Violet's mother didn't let her become a scribe is because what's his name? Markham was training her, and he wanted her to replace him, but he knew all of the secrets this entire time, and Violet's mother knew that if Violet found out, she would get killed because she wouldn't shut up. She would not sit down and take it.
Yeah.
So she pushed her into the Rider's Quadrant, even though it was possibly going to kill her,
but
because
to save her life. Yeah.
If not, she would die.
Yeah. And
that kind of breaks my heart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, the scribe life seems like the way to go, right?
Right.
It seems like this is going to be the safe option, the safe path. You're going to wear your little robes. You're not going to talk for a year. You're going to have time of your life. I'm gonna make you walk the parapet, and then I'm gonna make you figure out the gauntlet when you're only 9 inches tall, and then I'm gonna make you fight all these dragons.
Yeah.
But I mean, we see now that Violet had a better chance being a writer, and you
Yeah.
don't get that knowledge at all through book one. I mean, I think it's safe to say every single person went through book one thinking, "What a terrible mother!
Yeah.
What a terrible
absolutely.
human!" And I really hope none of us have read Onyx Storm yet. Like, I don't even think we've cracked open the pages other than
No.
to look at the beautiful printing on the side. So I hope we get a little more of her. Like, I know she's
Yeah.
gone, but I hope as more
More of a
people join the
backstory,
revolution
yeah.
that we
Yeah.
see maybe she was working behind the scenes a little bit
Mhm.
to move things, to make things better. I don't know. We might not. That might be totally far fetched, but I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's a venom and she comes back to life.
Stop. I can't even talk about
you
it.
got to get off of these TikTok fan theories.
I will not read that, or I will not watch them. I will not watch
I haven't
them.
been on TikTok in like 3 weeks.
I went
I'm
deep.
proud of you.
I went so deep.
I don't even have a TikTok, so I literally have the GBC TikTok. That's it.
I just keep like on anything, Facebook, Instagram.
I'm really nervous
I just,
about Onyx. Spoilers.
I know. We have to hurry up and
Yeah.
read it because I'm stressed out.
I'm starting tonight. I have everything laid out at home.
You're
My-
starting tonight.
My
I can't.
highlighter, my tabbies.
You're gonna want to go to bed when you get home.
Okay, maybe tomorrow. Let's be realistic.
Well, I did watch one today that said, and I don't know why I like never put this together, but no, this is about the first book.
Oh, okay, okay.
That like literally like page 7, I think it was foreshadowing, because she said something about whenever she, she's kind of weak or whatever, and she isn't, all that fast, but she throws daggers very well, and she keeps like pushing the fact that she's quick at throwing daggers like lightning, and I'm like, that whole time we had no idea.
Oh yeah, I would have never picked
I
that
know.
up.
Listen to me and listen to me good.
No.
I don't read for foreshadowing. I read for vibes.
It's because you have to read it again.
Vibes.
I did catch a lot more things reading them the second time.
Yeah, Nate said the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but then he was like pushing me to download Onyx Storm so that he could start it, and I was like, "You are not starting that before me," because he finished Iron Flame like 3 days before me, and I was like, "No, this is crap."
The balls on that man. But we can just skip on it. This podcast isn't airing this.
I know. How rude.
I know you read the books twice, but you still have to listen to it.
Exactly.
So a lot of General Sorengale and Xaden's history comes to light in Iron Flame. How did you feel about that, and does it change the way you feel about Violet and Xaden's relationship?
So, okay. Don't get me wrong. I love Xaden, but I love to hate on him too. When Violet is mad at him, I am mad at him. Okay? Because her points are justified. So, because he kept saying, I need you to ask me questions. She doesn't know what questions to ask. She doesn't know what you're keeping from her. So it just really made me mad.
Yeah, that would be rude. I would throw daggers at him.
Yeah. So it really bothered me that, like, he never told her. Her mom asked him to, like, watch out for her or whatever. But then you kind of think, like, I don't know. Now that we, like, have found out that Brennan's alive, I don't know that the whole I want to kill her thing was ever legitimate. Like, but would he have acted differently towards her had her mom not said those things? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, would he have actually wanted to kill her?
I'm going to devil's advocate here a little bit, because Violet assumes she knows a lot of stuff that she doesn't. The biggest thing I am going to point to is the scars. Liam tells her about the scars, right? Was Liam in the first book?
I'm pretty sure.
She never once asks Xaden about them. Never.
But is it because they didn't have a relationship at that point?
Well, they definitely had a relationship at the end of the book.
Well, yes.
They'd been naked enough times together to have a relationship at the end of the book. So I'm just devil's advocating. I do think she has merit to some of her arguments, absolutely. But I think she thinks she's always right. And she thought she had the information she needed, so she's...
But
There's so much tension in this room.
But I feel like the reason she is like that is because she has to assume because he won't tell her.
That's another fair devil's advocate.
Just saying.
Any Hazel. I can understand why Zayden didn't tell Violet himself that her mom was the one that scarred him up, cut him up, whatever you want to call it. Because he doesn't want what happened to him because of what happened to his father to change the way that Violet sees her mom. He doesn't want to affect the relationship by throwing her mom under the bus, essentially, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it breaks my heart that Violet feels differently about the relationship because her mom asked him to not kill her, essentially.
Right.
Because I feel like Zayden, it took a very short amount of time for Zayden to go from, well, I'm not going to kill her because I have a deal with her mother, to, I'm not going to kill her because I have feelings for her or she's what his revolution needs. I don't feel like it didn't take very long for his motives to change. So it hurts my heart that Violet's like, but you didn't tell me that my mother made you watch out for me and was the beginning of our relationship a lie. But it wasn't. It's not how it was for him.
I'm in that camp as well. General Stormgale asking Zayden to quote unquote look out for Violet had no merit on him falling in love with her. He would have been around her anyhow.
Yeah.
So maybe she might have been in a different squad. They're fated. It was gonna be what it was gonna be. This is also a book, people, so don't get too in depth with it, right?
Yeah.
So his love for her wasn't born out of him having to save her. It was out of understanding that despite what is wrong with her body, her brain is what he loves.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think this had anything to do with it. If it did, it would have been a Dane love. It would have been I have to make sure you stay alive. So I'm going to wrap you in bubble wrap. I'm going to lock you in a closet, lock you in a room, lock you in the castle. I'm going to have dragons guarding it 24/7 and you're not allowed to leave. But it wasn't.
He made her stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's
so
pushing her to do
protect
these
herself.
things. And I mean, even in Threshing, when he's really thinking about saving her.
Oh, I mean,
he backs up.
He goes
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. He's like, nope. She
Yeah.
can do this.
Yeah.
So I really think if this had been, if the mom had any sway over it, it would have been a Dane love. And it clearly is not that. I literally put in my notes, Violet just wants to be enraged about everything. But the more I talk about it, I don't think that's true. I understand why she's upset. But that, like I said, she didn't ask the questions. She didn't ask about the scars. She didn't ask how he got them. And like you said, Amber, he's not trying to throw her mom under the bus. This Zayden, okay, we say that he's this morally gray character. He's not really throwing anyone under the bus for anything.
Yeah. He's letting people come to their own conclusions about everything. Even when they were asking the cadets if they wanted to leave the school.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't
It's
force
your
them.
choice.
He didn't leave them. Mind you, Violet was like, we need to give them the option. But he could have easily been like, no, get on your freaking dragon, let's go.
Exactly. Or he could have said, stay and die.
Yeah.
I don't trust you. I don't trust your dragons. I don't trust that you are what's good for my revolution. Have fun.
And the fact that, when she finds out about her mother asking him to keep her safe or whatever, she thinks back to that night in Fourth Wing where he catches her in the tree meeting with the marked ones.
Yes.
In Violet's mind, she's like, oh my gosh, that's why he didn't kill me, is because my mother. But if you look at Zayden's point of view from that night, that's the night it kind of changed for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, miscommunication trope.
It drives me crazy every single time.
And
My
I
least
get,
favorite romance
I
trope.
get that it builds the story and it's needed, but it makes me so mad.
And there's a lot of that in this book with the whole, you don't answer my questions, you're not asking the right questions, but I asked you this, but it wasn't what I wanted you to ask me. It's just back
But
and
that's
forth.
why I feel like it's not miscommunication. He's just not communicating with her.
Yeah, I guess no communication.
right. Like he wants, I don't know. It's like he wants her to be violent towards him. You know what I mean? He wants her to be angry.
Violence.
Yes. I don't know.
I wonder
don't
if we'll ever learn why.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it keeps her on her toes.
But that can't be the reason.
It can't
Yeah.
be. But it keeps her from being complacent.
And the fact that he stuck to his guns about it. When she was like, no, we're done. He's losing his love. He didn't relent and say, okay, I'll tell you my whole life story. He said, just keep asking me questions.
Yeah.
So there has to be a reason behind why he won't just come out and blab everything that she wants to know.
I think we found out why, though.
Okay, do we
Well-
answer that later? Like, let's move on, right?
Because if
That's
she
a
starts
touch.
asking these questions,
She figures it out
He's
herself.
afraid. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's it.
I guess I didn't put those two things together, but
Yes.
We'll get to
Alright.
that with his second signet, but I
Yeah.
think that's the connection there.
Okay. So, what do you think about the new adolescent Andarna compared to her character in Fourth Wing? At the end of the book, we find out she's the 7th breed of dragon and waited 650 years to hatch to bond with the Violet. It just makes I love it so much. So, why do you think she waited, and what could it mean in the books going forward?
I freaking love Andarna.
Mhm.
And even last podcast, I told you guys, just wait. Just wait
I know.
for Iron Flame, because I remembered how much I loved her part in the second book. And I can't wait to see where her story goes and the 7th breed of dragon, to learn what will that mean for the story. I think she waited to hatch because she was waiting for a writer that would change the world, essentially.
Yeah.
And that just happened to be Violet.
And then she was like her. She was different.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's cute too, like the Violet having her physical limitations and Darna's wing.
Yeah. And they don't think she'll never bear a writer,
Yes.
you know?
And I've, in my deep dive into the TikTok theory universe, there was
Maybe I should.
so many ideas.
I need to read the 3rd book first.
But there's a theory that the 7th breed of dragon is the ones that killed the Venin 600 years ago or whatever.
Okay.
But it kind of makes you think too that the 7th breed of dragon was extinct from that fight. But I think that there are few left and they stay in the Vale to protect their species.
But I have a question. Because Tairn doesn't know that she's this 7th.
Or does he? And he just didn't tell.
Because
I
she
think he does
asked General Melgren's
Coda.
Yeah. And she specifically said, because he was like, do you have a death wish? Because she was talking to Coda. And she said, it's not my secret to tell.
I don't think he knows. He
I don't
continually
think so
refers to her as
either.
a black dragon.
Yes.
And I think if he knew, he just wouldn't put it in there.
Probably. But,
Unless it's a distraction technique.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's black, even though she's purple and green and glinting in the sun.
but I don't think she knows. Or I don't think he knows
I really should have.
from the way that.
Flipping through my book, trying to find my favorite Andarna quotes. The next book, I'm going to separate her and Tairn's quotes, because
Oh, I know. I put all the dragon stuff together.
I did and I shouldn't have,
I know.
because
I need more
Andarnas
colors.
are so funny.
I know. She's hilarious.
Here's a couple. So she is a top tier character for me. I freaking
Mhm.
love her. It's her and Tairn just have this dad
Mhm.
teenage girl relationship. I love to hate you. Like,
Yeah.
it's just this constant back and forth. And I just found it so funny. It was so well written. Like you said, I she's obviously this rare seventh breed of dragon. I just can't wait to see the signet between the two of them. I have no idea what it could be, but I'm so excited, and there has to be more, right? It can't just be her. Is one of the elders one, and that's who's like teaching Andarna.
I'm just convinced that there's more in the veil. Like, not many.
But are they born already? Because
actually,
well, I guess because they can make themselves look like other dragons. Because she made herself look black because she wants to be Tairn. She wants to be like Tairn, which I just thought was so sweet.
I know, it was really cute.
She doesn't hate him. She argues with him and
she looks up to him,
but she loves him and respects him. Like
I wish we had more of Sigale.
Yeah,
and we had that like.
Tiffany hates Sigale.
I know, me too.
I like her. I don't know why. I want more. But some of my favorite Andarna quotes are like, here she kind of like just woken up from her extra long sleep, and they're talking, trying to figure out the wordstone, and just to have backstory to understand, Violet says something to Xaden in their like mind talk. Does Iron Rain mean anything to you? And I'm sorry, it was to Tairn, because Tairn answers, well, should it? And Andarna says, clearly, or she wouldn't be asking. Ooh, she. And then Tairn responds, they will not stay down if you keep stuffing them in like that. So I love that quote.
Because she has ADHD.
Absolutely. And then in another bit, like literally 3 pages later, they're talking, and once again Violet's talking to them, and they're trying to get this luminary from, is it Gordon? No. Anyways, wherever Takaris is, they're trying to get this luminary, and Andarna says, well, she makes a good point. Can you carry a luminary? And Tairn says, that question insults me. And Andarna goes, can you carry a luminary while insulted? And like, I need to find out who the voice actor is.
Oh, I know. At the end, I was like, who plays her? Because I love her.
Like, it was just perfect. And it's still kind of that childlike voice. And another one of my favorites was, once again, they're chit-chatting, and Sawyer's talking this time, and he's like, are you sure? Say the word, we'll bury a body. We still have a couple of hours before we're doing battle brief. And Andarna says, good idea. I could use a snack. And Tairn says, we do not eat our allies. And she responds with, you never let me have any fun.
So that was a big theme. We do not eat our allies.
I know.
Yes, and one of like the chapter quotes at the top, I think I do have this one tabbed. We do not eat our allies. Tairn's personal addendum to the Book of Brennan, as quoted by Cadet Violet Soren. Yeah. So like, I have way more quotes between her and Andarna, but those were some of my favorites because it was just so juicy and snarky. Like, it was just so good.
I love her. I love that she was the reason they got the wards back up. I love that not only did Violet bond a black dragon, because those are very rare, but she also bonded Andarna. Also, I think it's very interesting that Coda is the only other black dragon that has, at least that's bonded to a rider.
Yes.
And he is like way bigger than Tairn.
Okay, so
that surprised me, and I don't know why. I just never imagined he was that much bigger.
I didn't realize
they say Tairn is so much bigger than all the other ones.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But then it doesn't Violet say something like 5 feet taller or something? Yeah. I guess, I don't know if I just missed that in the first book, because I only did the graphic audio.
Maybe they hadn't seen them next to each other either.
Yeah, I don't think it was
That's
mentioned.
possible. Yeah. Because like, I know there's like mention of another black dragon, but I did not know that it was Coda. I knew in my head is he the leader of the Empyrean?
That I don't know.
I just knew it was part of it.
I just knew it was General Melgren's dragon, was the other black dragon, but I don't know what his part in it is.
And one other thing, I literally just thought about this. Coda's the one that made it so they can't see the mark more than groups of 3.
Mm-hmm.
So when Violet's like giving him that evil eye, he's like, "Girl,
Did you
I've been protecting
Mhm,
them.
mhm.
Like I just thought about that."
Which this has nothing to do with Andarna. I don't know if I should say it now or if I should wait. Maybe I'll just say it now. I thought that the marked ones, like, were all going to end up having second signets because they're marked. I don't know why I thought that.
No, they only get second signets if they bond their relative's dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Which
You either
they,
get a second signet or madness.
which they don't normally allow, right?
Chance.
They don't normally allow them, though. Which
because
is why,
of that reason. But they did
which is-
because they thought he was his great uncle.
Yeah, that's
because
why.
it wasn't a direct descendant. Like,
Yes, but it was really his grandpa or
Yeah,
great
grandpa.
grandpa.
anyway,
Which I mean, how are they
Moving on.
going to stop it? The dragons do what the dragons want to do.
right.
Right.
Maybe that's a dragon rule. Like, hey, we don't want to
Dragons
make the
don't
humans
follow
crazy.
the rules of humans.
It's true.
So anyway,
And Darna lets us know that a lot throughout this book.
yes, sassy. I love her. Okay.
Dean gets a redemption arc. Do you think he did it?
It's a little chilly in here.
Do you think he deserves to be forgiven? Do you think he will continue to support the revolution?
I mean, I hope he does. I didn't pick up any reason in this book that he wouldn't. Then again, like I said, I read for vibes. I don't read for foreshadowing, so maybe I missed it. But he, once it all hits the fan, and he gets up on stage and he's like, "Now's your chance to come with us. I hate Zayden Ryerson, but I'm going to."
I feel like I have read 3 books. I feel like Fourth Wing was book 1, and then part 1 of Iron Flame was book 2, and then part 2 of Iron Flame was book 3. I feel like because I keep forgetting that all of that happened in the same book.
Because
Yeah.
book
As
1 you
the
have
war.
Basgaeth.
Yes.
Okay. And then Iron Flame, now we have Basgaeth and Orisha.
Mhm.
And it really feels like those should be, like, I almost feel like Basgaeth part 2 should have been a novella, and then Orisha been, like, novel 2.
Mhm.
Because I feel the same way. Like, I keep thinking, well, maybe that happened in book 1, but it didn't. It was
Right.
just
Yeah.
the first 10 chapters or whatever. So, I mean, he jumps into planning once they get to Orisha. And
Because he realizes he was lied to his whole life.
yes. And I think it was big of him to, like, admit it, too.
Oh yeah.
And he's still trying to mend fences with Violet, which I find admirable.
Yes.
And he didn't have to go try to read Jack's mind when they're fighting at the Wardstone, but he did.
Mhm.
So I think he's sufficiently redeemed. He openly admitted his signet to everyone, and before it was such the rule follower, that's a classified signet. But he's like, I
Because
can
he
read his
wanted to
mind.
feel superior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, just throwing caution to the wind now. I will never forget that he is the reason that Liam R.I.P. is gone. But
I know.
I think he's a very powerful tool in the toolbox for the revolution.
And I hate to even say this. In Dane's defense,
The tension builds again.
I still feel like, because he did say, like, obviously he didn't know where they were like what was going to happen when they went during the war games to this battle, and I don't think would have done it had he known what would transpire.
I guess to me, it's the fact that he took something that didn't belong to
Okay,
him.
yes,
Yeah.
I do. I agree with that. I do.
Whether the
I
information
don't
meant
think-
nothing at all.
He
Right.
couldn't have known what was going to happen
Right.
because he didn't know that the venom existed.
Right.
Exactly. He
So-
took something that he was not owed.
And I do think that he is redeemable. And you know what? I don't usually redeem characters. And I think he's redeemable because basically he's the reason that Varys is dead. I mean, for the... Shut up. No. I
It's a
hate
fate worse
her.
than death.
No. Anyway. But...
The Hamlet of this book. The hands of a cat.
Liam, it's my turn to answer.
Sorry.
Anyway, He's the reason, for the most part, that Varys is dead. He basically he was going to kill him until Xaden stopped him, and said no, Violet deserves to kill him. And I don't know. I think that's very admirable, and I do think that he redeems himself because he does in the end like explain himself and apologize, and yeah, I think that he has redeemed himself, and I think that he really is mad at his father, and especially now that Violet's mom is dead. You just don't know what's going to happen with like his dad, and because his dad
Leadership.
is a piece of crap, and
Yeah, because I mean, I guess
tried
I just
to get her
realized
killed
he's just on the outskirts this whole book.
because he's being punished.
And the general's dead now, and the vice commander's dead now.
So what's he been doing?
Now he's probably going to come back and like I don't know.
I feel like it's like the movie's like.
Stop. But I don't know. So I just think that like, and he's on their side, and I don't think there's any going back for him to Basgaiath,
I agree. I forgive him.
or to be on their side anyway. I don't know.
Forgive, but don't forget.
Yeah.
I just love
I do too.
Well, yes.
That
and
does
then,
break my heart. But I can't, like that said, I can't blame him because he didn't know that was going to happen because he didn't know that those creatures even existed.
But even if it was, say, Xaden that died and Liam lived, I don't think he would have ever blamed Violet for it. You know what I mean? Like, had he been the one to live and one of his friends died, I don't think he ever would have blamed Violet. Xaden doesn't blame Violet.
Yeah.
She
Once
didn't
again,
know what she
Violet's
was doing.
irrational.
Yeah.
Like, this is the one irrational thing I'm gonna let her have.
Yeah. And it's nice that, like, Sloane warms up to her.
I like
And
Sloane a lot.
I do too.
And that she kept those letters for her from her brother. And, like, I mean, he says, you're going to love Violet.
And that part where Violet looks up and she's like, "I must be dead because it's Liam's eyes staring."
I
back at me."
know.
And then it's Sloane.
I know. And
It was so sad.
yeah. And holy crap, she's a freaking siphon. Go Sloane.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
a
that
big
for
segment.
her.
I said that's what I wanted to be if I had one.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer the question that we asked a little bit ago, I don't think he's going to leave the revolution. I think he knows too
No.
much now to go back.
I agree.
I ideally would like for him to get a new love interest and his character to grow and develop.
Not Cat. No.
But-
shut up.
Bomb drop here, I think he's going to die.
I hate you.
Oh, I agree with
He's
that.
an external
Yes,
enough
I
character
know. I know.
that I think
And
he'll get
like,
loved.
I
No one
don't.
loves him.
I don't love him anymore. I mean, I never loved him, but like, I don't know that he'll redeem himself so much that like, I'll want. I don't want to say I want him to die because I don't want anybody to die except for Varys and.
But if it was
Jack
in
Harlow.
place of like any of the people that I actually like,
Really?
Right, like I don't like him enough to.
oh, I love him.
Yeah.
I do too.
I'm very worried about Sawyer right now
Yeah.
because his leg is gone, and
But he has Jacinia.
yes, he does. And Jacinia is going to become the something, the curator to the Scribe Quadrant at Basgaiath College. So she's got a good head on her shoulders. She's going to be what Violet would have been.
And also, okay, so Tairn, the second biggest dragon in the land, made adjustments for Violet. She has a little saddle, right?
Oh, yeah,
I
I'll be
think-
able to ride again.
I think
wasn't
Sawyer's
Tairn.
gonna be back
That
on
was
it.
Xaden.
But Tairn let him do it.
Yes, that's true.
Dragons are not influenced by humans.
Yes.
So I feel like there is a really good relationship between Sawyer and his dragons, Slizzy, because
Yeah.
she
He
was
lost
going
his leg
to
defending
die.
her.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's
and-
like, I'm not
and-
gonna fight. If it keeps you on my back, I'm not gonna fight.
And that's another thing. Violet convinced his dragon, to like listen to her so that
Yeah.
she could save his life. So yes, I know it like feeds into your theory. Okay, moving forward.
Okay. Let's talk about Auric.
I'm so deep into this.
What do you think his motives are? where do you think his story will develop, and do you have any thoughts on his signet? Because he's, as of the end of this book, he still hasn't developed one yet.
I don't know. So he's the king's son, and the king still doesn't know about him going to Basgaiath.
I call him Cam during the entire book, so I'm probably going to refer to him as Cam when I talk to him. Because that's his real name. That's his real name. He changed his name when he became a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just only read it that one time, so
I don't know why, but that's...
What do we see it twice, 3 times? In the beginning when he comes, and then at the end when General Sorengale like addresses him as Cam.
Yeah. And then I always want to call him Alaric from Vampire
Oh,
Diaries.
I know. It was easier to not call him that because I listened to it while I was reading it, but I don't know. I feel like he's gonna be. I have already cursed like twice, and I'm very surprised at myself. But I think he's gonna be like this badass, powerful dragon rider, and he's gonna be like, "Suck it, Dad. Look at me."
I
Yeah,
have to put that explicit button on this podcast.
I know.
Beep.
So I'm really excited to see what his
18
signet
and
is.
over. 18 and over.
I think it is like listed as that on Apple Podcasts anyway.
I have to, because we talk about sexy time.
That's true, so I can say that. Sorry, Mom.
All right. I want to believe that Cam is 1,000% a good guy. But I don't.
Sometimes I worry about him. I will say, like, that he is going to screw them over.
Yeah. I just
Betray them.
have a gut feeling.
And you usually have good gut feelings.
So, had I not listened to the audiobook, I think I might disagree with you a little bit. But the person that did his parts had such a whiny voice.
Yes.
Like, it
Like,
sounded like
immature.
a whiny witch boy, like, this isn't really what we're doing. Like, the typical king's son. Like, what you think of, like, second son. I don't know. Did you read Onyx Storm, sir? Like, is this foreshadowing of voicing for what's going to happen in the third book? I don't know.
Also, like, and I don't think he reminds me of him, but there are times when I'm like, okay, you're acting like Jack Barlow.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Ow.
It's the cockiness, I think.
Yes.
But I will say at one point I thought maybe that... So I had this theory going in that Violet and Xaden got together too early in the books for it to be a 5-book series, a fantasy, for them to be in-game. So I thought for a minute that maybe he would become a love interest, that Cam would become a love interest to Violet.
Really? I never picked up on that. But...
I don't think that anymore.
Right.
I would not ship that if it's the case.
Yeah.
And the only reason I think that Violet will not have another love interest, or maybe she will and get back with Xaden, is because Rebecca Yarros has repeatedly said Violet and Xaden are endgame.
And I think it would be hard. It would be hard to break the bond.
Yes. Right. How do you explain that?
Yeah.
But I swear to God, if it's another Divergent situation, I'll kill somebody.
I think signet for Cam is going to be a distance wielder. I think he's going to be able to travel distances like with his mind or whatever. Teleportation, essentially.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think that, the deep dive led me to his dragon's name translated is loosely distance.
Oh, you know.
What? Wait. What? Okay. What's his dragon's name?
I have no idea.
Good job.
I said I deep dived. I said I didn't fact check it.
Because like what language?
I'm a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I'll Google it. Beth, hang on.
What real language
Well, I don't know.
is his name?
I did 0 fact checks.
Well, yeah, but you have to do that.
I'm just
When
throwing
you-
theories out.
Okay, but that's a big theory. Now you knew we were gonna question you.
Volvic, the blue cubtail.
Okay.
And it's a rare dragon, and distance wielders are a rare signet.
So he's a blue dragon, which so
Yes.
is Sigale, right?
But they're
Yes.
different tails, I think.
Oh, okay. because
Yeah, I think
blue. I thought for some reason it was specifically a blue dragon that was rare. Also,
I mean, I think they are.
he's
Okay.
a blue club tail.
okay. But what language does his name
Just
stem
type his
from?
name and then meaning.
meaning? Yeah.
See what you get. See if
What do I
these
say, Mulric?
see if these TikTokers really did their
You're the one that
research.
saw it.
I didn't create the TikTok.
I'm not giving you anything that means Mulric.
Okay, well that could be a total lie, but I'm still gonna stick with my answer.
Fine.
TikTok might have done me dirty.
Okay. That's okay. We can move on.
Mulvic. Hang on, it helps you spell it right. Molvic.
You know when she said, what was it, Mulvric? I said, you were the one that saw it. I said that to her, and then you got defensive. So I just went with it. But because I was like,
I thought you meant you're the one that saw the TikTok.
No, because she looked
the
it
meaning
up.
in Old Irish is praised son.
Ooh.
Oh!
And that's on EmpyreanWriters.com.
Well, who wrote that? If it wasn't Rebecca
Praise
Yarros,
The
then
writers.
then it's
Praised son.
Blasphemy.
He's the king's son. That's crazy. Is it real? I have so many questions.
I mean, they have like a subscriber list and everything.
Should we subscribe?
fake news. Fake news.
What's my name?
Isn't it like Sheila S.
Fitzgerald.
1@gmail.com?
You just give me my email saying send me dirty pics?
Obviously.
Feet pics are recommended.
No, I'm trying to sell feet pics, Amber. I don't want them. Do not send me your feet pics.
Email request for feet pics.
You can also reach her at 304. That's all I
I've
know.
had this phone
That's all I
number
know.
since I was in the 8th grade. I'm not changing it.
I know the last four because it's the same as our work phone number, right? The last four of your phone
Yes.
number? Yeah.
You cannot find out where I work. You're only 3 digits away.
But also which office, you know what I mean?
Fair.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, though. That
Yeah.
it kind of plays back into my question, or my answer to the question.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Yes.
I think Aric's going to be a big player in the next couple books. He's the king's son, as we
Yeah.
know.
And he
Yes.
freaking joined the revolution.
He has to have more information than he's letting on.
Yes.
Like, I feel like we're in another Zayden situation here, where he's keeping secrets.
I guess. I also feel like like his dad doesn't take him seriously. So he's trying to prove himself.
Exactly.
I don't
But
know
prove
if this is
himself
part
for
of the answer.
himself, or
For
prove
his
himself for
dad.
his dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like a lot of the time, especially when it came to like Violet and her mom, she wasn't doing the things for her love. She was doing them to impress her. You know?
Yeah.
So is he gonna do that? Ugh.
To get
I don't
Also,
want to think about
I
it.
just thought about this too. It would be revenge because Zayden's leading the revolution. Zayden killed his brother
I
during the
forgot about
thrashing.
that. Forgot all about that. Dang it!
So I cannot buy into the fact.
He acts
That
too much
he's
like Jack
good.
Harlow for me.
And
You know who
Let's
needs to date
circle-
Cat? Jack Barlow.
that would be good. That's a love match. I'm just
hate
not
you.
buying that King Tory has no idea where his son is.
He thinks he sent him off on a party tour for his 21st birthday.
but Ark talks about all of these bodyguards. We're really just expected to believe they never went back and said anything.
Maybe he killed him.
The bodyguards that they left in the bottom of the vault of this.
No, his
Oh,
bodyguard.
No, like he had ones like escorting him, and he slipped him.
Well, but if they're embarrassed or afraid of what the king might do, but also he helps them steal the journals, which maybe he's trying to get in their good graces. I don't know.
What did he do to get Violet in that journal room that he didn't know that she would live through?
Put her through the ward.
And he hoped, because he was touching her, that she would live. If she hadn't lived, oh darn, I wandered back into my own castle, where my guards are.
Okay, I'm gonna deep dive next
Dun,
time.
dun,
I
dun.
have
Deep
big
dive before
eyeballs
we
for those of you
do
who can't see.
Onyx Storm.
I don't trust him.
Well, yeah.
And Zayden's like, what are you doing? Like, they're yelling at each other through this invisible wall.
Yeah.
I just don't I
Right.
don't like him.
Okay.
Not that I don't like him. I don't think that you can believe that he's a good person right now.
Okay.
I think we're missing information.
True. So, what do you think about Zayden's second signet and how Violet figured it out? And the huge questions for those who haven't read Onyx Storm: what do you think Violet's second signet will be?
This is my question to shine.
She has like 95 paragraphs.
This is her time to shine.
I am pretty much going to read this because I can't like read it and then read it.
This is you. You know that like meme where it's like where the teacher asks you to like show your work on your math question and you're like, this is my moment. That is you right now. Go.
All right. To answer the first part of the question, I love and hate Zayden's second signet. I love that it's powerful and that it's just another way for him to protect himself and Violet and the Revolution. But I hate that he was terrified to tell her.
Yeah.
I hate the way that he is portrayed in that part of the book because it like hurts my heart for him that he's afraid to tell her. But
Which makes me think that he really doesn't fully trust her.
yeah,
And that
like,
worries me.
If you trust her and love her, why wouldn't you tell her?
And I mean, even Tairn is hurt that Sigale never
Yeah.
told him, which I understand. Like, there are some secrets that writers keep with their dragons. Like Andarna, nobody knew that she was a child.
Yeah.
Because she kept that secret and didn't tell anybody. But I don't like it.
And I feel like she realized that he had a second signet at the worst possible time.
Oh, because she wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Somebody else, who was it, Sloane?
I don't remember. I know it was when they were fighting the dragon
And she pointed out.
in the cave.
Yeah.
The one-eyed dragon. I can't remember.
Soulless.
Someone, was it Kat, like, asked? Oh, is it? Was it Kat asked her, like, what her, well, I don't know. One of them asked her what she thinks her second signet will be. And Sloane misinterpreted her question. And
Yeah.
she was the one that brought up the fact about the
Family.
yes. And that's when she was like, what?
And when I was reading the book, like, I read that and I was like, what the hell did she just realize?
I know.
Because it's only mentioned like one time that it's his
And you just like
grandfather's dragon.
breeze over it. You
And
know
then,
what I
like,
mean?
2 chapters later or something, she's like,
And then when she
Yo.
asked him, that's when I was like, oh, because the marked ones all have second signets. Because for some reason I thought that. And then I was like, wait, no. Anyway, keep going.
all right, now to my theories about violets. A few of them I came up with my own.
Uh-huh.
A few. How many are listed?
She had to phone a friend.
Okay. I have a lot of theories, but I don't think any of them are correct. And I think I'm going to read Onyx Storm and be like, wow, you're a big fat idiot. But, one of them is pausing time, which was a power that she had from Andarna. But there's a part in Iron Storm where she...
Iron Flame.
Yeah, whatever.
Fourth on the wing.
We're just mushing them all together now in my brain. She goes after, I want to call him Roderick all the time.
That's the brother from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah.
I had the biggest
Every
crush on
time I
that
read his
actor when I
name,
was little.
That's where my brain goes.
Gosh.
But she pins him up against the wall for something. Like, I don't remember why. But, and it's like stated in that paragraph, she moved so fast that he didn't even have time to respond. So I'm like, I wrote, second signet, question mark, right beside it, on my notes. And then,
Did not catch that.
I wondered if she had some kind of dream powers because she like interacts with the
Sage.
sage when she's in her dreams, and it's not like you read it as like not like a normal dream.
I guess I look at that and I think it's more foreshadowing.
Yeah, and then I wondered if that was the sage's power.
Like
That's
getting
what
into
I'm
her
up in the air
mind.
about.
Yes.
Yeah. But what really throws me is when her and Zayden have the exact same dream.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, is it the sage or is it her?
You don't
I
realize
think
that
it's
till the end of the book.
sage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think he's playing them to see who will break first.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
she was
Because he
going,
wants them both. He
Yeah.
wants both of them.
and she was going to risk herself to save him.
Yeah.
And they'll both
And
do
he-
anything for love.
And
Yep.
he thought she did, so he risked himself.
Yeah.
I get emotional.
My third theory is it something to have to do with interacting with the dead, or was Liam a hallucination?
Why did
Because
I
she
never pick
says-
up on that?
She says that she, in her head, thinks that he's a hallucination.
I just think she was so delirious because of the trauma she went through.
I agree with that. And what solidifies that for me is that when she's at the Wardstone giving up her power and she sees his eyes, but it's slow.
Yeah.
I think that just plays back into the fact that we see now how much power she had been drained in the interrogation room.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that circle.
And I think I just am like hopeful because I want her to be able to see Liam again. But
I love that.
Yeah.
If I could bring one back.
and lastly, and my most solid theory,
Is this one you came up with yourself?
talking with someone at work, but not TikTok.
Okay.
Um,
I can respect that.
Can she communicate / control dragons to some extent?
Well, now that we have seen her with Sawyer's dragon,
Coda.
and then we saw her with Coda, and she looked right at him. And I mean, Tairn saw her do this both times and was like,
Do you have
a death wish? I'm starting to think it's that. Now, a friend of mine, shout out to Claire, she says once we find out, it's like, how did I not see this coming?
My rebuttal to that though is my friend Brittany's. She said the whole time I was reading this book, everyone said, it's so obvious, it's so obvious, it's so obvious. And then she said, I got to that and I was like, WTF, I never would have guessed this. Which is it? Like, people are saying both sides. I really don't know.
Rebecca says it's obvious
Yes.
in her interviews.
Yes. And obviously I trust her, but whatever. But also, like, a lot of the time, I'm not looking for it either.
Oh, this second time through when I read it, I was like, Every time I was like, I wrote it out in the margin of my notes.
As soon as I was finished with this book, Nate said, what do you think your second segment is? And I was like, I don't know, I'm crying. I know. Well, because I texted him and all I said was, because, you know, like the whole time he was like, I really want you to finish it, whatever. So I would just text him like little points, like I did with you, like Jack Barlow ? And then Zayden is Venom ? And he called me and he was like, did you finish? And I was like, no, I have like 4 pages left. He's like, you're not done. I was like, no. But he was like, well, I wanted to see what you thought her second segment was. And I was like, oh, I have no idea. But anyway.
I was looking through my notes to see, because I remember a couple times being like, signet ? Signet ? And one of them was like, what foreshadowing, but mostly because of her dreams. Like, is she seeing what's could happen if they make the wrong move? But the further we get into the book and the more we've talked it out, I don't think that's it.
Well, and now that we know what Zayden's second signet is, I
too
feel
similar.
like it would just be too much like his.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something totally different because we have light and darkness, shadows and lightning, and then now we have mind, his intrinsic. So you say mind control, but it's not mind control.
Right.
It's a form of mind reading.
Can read intentions that people have.
So what's the opposite of that? Forcing people to have intentions?
Right. But
Or
also
forcing dragons.
And she gets so mad. This is a question we answered. Or did we already answer?
it's okay. We can talk about it again. I thought he was gonna redeem him.
Well, if I answer this, that's too bad. But she gets ticked that. Oh wait, it's in this answer.
It's like, where he's going. Okay.
I've been on crack today. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
She
Yes.
started talking.
Okay. Once again, I'm beyond annoyed with Violet for jumping the gun, and she gets so mad at Sigale and Xaden for keeping this secret from her. And I mean, I guess I'm justifying a little bit because even Tairn's mad, and he doesn't stand beside Sigale when they like fly for their meeting, which was really sad. But this is literally his life we're talking about, and they've seen how many people straight up necks snapped in the quad for this signet.
Well,
And-
it wasn't the same, but I guess it is close enough where he does worry for himself and his dragon.
And my argument to the whole thing is that in the past, I'm sure they knew what Intrinsics did. Nobody knows the full extent of their power now because they're murdering them before they get the
Yes.
chance.
Right.
And Violet does the same dang thing. She jumps straight to, well, you controlled my mind. No. He read the intent 3 seconds before you did it. So him knowing you were going to kiss him, how is that forcing your hand? How is that forcing your feelings or his feelings on you?
Would he have done it though? If he didn't know that she wanted it, would he have done it? Would he have acted on those feelings? Like, where would they be today if he hadn't read those intentions? Would he still be dick to her and fighting his feelings? That's a question I have.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah. So, I'm just mad. I'm mad at Xaden because I feel like he just didn't trust her enough to come out and say it, because he didn't even want her to know that he had a second signet, and tried to stop her from guessing because he knew she would figure it out. And I just felt like that meant he didn't trust her, and that bothers me. But I don't know. Props to Sigale for keeping it from Tairn. Like, that
Yeah,
was
that had to
probably
be hard.
very difficult, and he's obviously very hurt by it because he feels like she lied to him. So I don't know.
honestly, Tairn's the only reason I'm keeping it out.
Yes, I
Because
love
he's so
him.
upset about it too.
I know.
But to be fair, his rider could be killed because if theory is correct and Xaden dies, then Violet dies.
And that's
Yes.
my other argument. Like, okay, we don't know when he developed the signet. Was it his first year? Was it this? I mean, you assume it was his first or second year. Assume. It does not, correct me if I'm wrong, it does not tell us in the book when he develops it. So,
Yes.
did he know that Sigale was going to bond another dragon? Or the Tairn's mate was going, my golly, I cannot speak.
Because
Did
he
he
was
know they were all going to be connected this
because
way?
he was kept away because he never agreed to bond. So no, like, she wouldn't have known.
So, in that regard, he's not telling anyone because he's saving his own hide.
Right.
And then,
And her,
when it
who
comes
her
to all
mom
4
is.
of them, or all 5 of them,
Yeah.
now he's saving it to protect all of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, at first I understand it because Dane, right? He's over here getting
Right.
handsy with people, taking things that don't belong to him.
Yes.
All Dane has to see is, he's a mind reader, snap, dead.
I know.
So, where I get hung up on is he had the chance to tell her, and he didn't because he's keeping all these secrets because she figures out, based on the correct, quote, questions she's asking, what he is.
Which, okay, I know they don't allow mind readers. Why is Dane's life not in danger?
He has to touch them to see it.
Okay.
I think the whole thing behind this intrinsic thing is that Xaden can be standing in a room with Melgren for 50 feet away and read his mind, his intentions.
Yeah.
Dane has to physically go up and touch someone to get
Okay.
it. And they want to protect their secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
point.
So I guess that's my whole holdup, is that he could have come clean once they got to Arisha,
Right.
and he still didn't.
Yeah, it just really bothers me that he still expects her to ask questions that she doesn't know to ask. But for her second signet, I don't know. My other friend Anna thinks that because she is a lightning wielder and that's destructive, that her other signet will be more of like a healing signet.
I tentatively
So-
wondered that, like maybe some type of mending, but Brennan's a mender.
Yeah,
So is there another
I don't know.
healing
I don't
style
know.
signet? They only talk about menders.
And
that I
she
can
just means
recall.
like dark light. You know what I mean? Like destruction, growth. I don't know.
I mean, I can see that.
We'll see. We'll see.
Is it going to be a signet we've never even heard of? That's.
It could be because
Am I guessing
she's
things
a
I don't
seven-
even know?
I
she's
do
a seventh
feel
grade.
like
Yeah.
it's going to be something crazy.
I think it's going to be off the wall, and I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
out of all these foreshadowing tabs I put in this dumb book, I'm not going to have even come close to
Well,
guessing it.
And even like, okay, I mean, her mom could literally,
control the weather.
yes, and now she's gone. So she was one of the most powerful writers, and now she's her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a feeling that she's going to be more powerful than her mom.
Yeah. I had taken a note, is Violet a siphon? And then my next note was, maybe not Sloane's a siphon.
Yeah, no.
So, like, I went through that bit.
I just love that Slim's a siphon. I love it so much. Anyway, we can move on.
How do you feel about the Flyers and Riders teaming up in Iron Flame? What do you think of Kat? And do you think the Flyers will stay after the war?
Well, I don't like Cat, that's for darn tootin'.
Thank goodness.
Darn tootin'.
Darn tootin'. And I don't like Cat because no one around her is a person. They are tools to be used to get her what she
Yes.
wants.
Yes.
She wants Zayden
But not
because she wants the crown.
Because she does not love him.
No, she wants power. She wants land. She wants to be. She wants to be a queen.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like Kat. Like, she gets a little better as the book goes on.
Yes, because she becomes like, I don't want to say redeemable because I don't think that's even close to what she becomes, but
A little more relatable, maybe?
yes, and she starts to have kind of a respect for Violet.
Like everyone else, I think she immediately looked at her and thought she's weak. Why? She will not be anything that I can be.
Yes, and so she feels threatened.
Yeah. Because everyone's praising
because-
Violet. She's so strong. She's so powerful.
And she's like, "What's the big deal?"
Yeah.
But also, she has the man that she wants because
Mm-hmm.
she wants the perks that come along with being
Exactly.
with him.
And that was like, even with Luella dying, I don't really get the idea that she cared much for Luella. It was just another reason to hate Violet.
Yes,
It just conveniently played into her plot.
because why
More
would
ammo.
Yes.
why would? And I'm not saying that she would, but why would Violet save someone she doesn't know above her own squad mate?
Violet didn't even have the strength to save either one of them.
Right.
It was the
Like,
It just happened that she.
thing pulled the rider.
the
up.
Griffin.
Yes, Griffin. I couldn't think of
Yeah,
that word.
the Griffin got to, wasn't Mira. Mara? Something like that. Got to her first. Because it was on that side of the cliff already.
Yeah.
Like, what was it supposed to do? On its little lion claws?
I know.
Just didn't make sense. As fantasy as this book is, I have a really hard time with griffins. I don't know why. How are they two different things?
I don't
know.
know.
Just freaks me out.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't even picture it.
Yeah, I had to keep looking at pictures, being like, okay, I guess this makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think the only person Cat holds a kernel, and I mean a small kernel, of any kind of warmth or respect is for Serena.
Because she's her sister.
Exactly. I think that's the only reason. But I really did like the forced teamwork of the
Mhm,
Flyers.
mhm.
I liked that Devera's finally this
Yeah.
is not working out.
And you knew that was going to happen.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's a thing in a lot of other fantasy books too.
Mhm,
The two sides come together that don't see eye to eye. They're forced to participate in whatever it might be, and they're all friends at the end.
Because they
So-
have to find common ground.
Exactly.
in
The
order
dragons
to
have
fight
enough
together.
knowledge have part of the knowledge to handle the venom, but the Griffin Riders have the other half of the knowledge.
Right.
And we
They've
see that
been
come and play with the
fighting with
runes.
venom.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I really did like that, and I really like that the Flyers are showing the Riders this whole different side of college, but of this
Training.
this program they're going through. When the Riders are talking about falling off the parapet, the Flyers are like, yeah, we jump into a pool and swim back to the edge and just guess I'll get a gun and go fight in the infantry.
Yeah, nothing happens. You just
you
find
swim
something
back.
else.
Your pride's dinged, and
Yeah.
maybe you become a writer.
And Riders are like, nope, we go spot.
Yeah, the
Well-
Riders are like, yeah, we're dead.
And it really surprises me that the Flyers aren't as impressed by the writers, because
Their lives are actually in danger.
yeah, and they're
Yeah.
just they still think they're above
Just snotty.
them somehow. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just like blows my mind.
And like
So
the Flyers have feelings, like when their death
Mhm.
rolls are being called, they're crying and they're upset and they're sad because this is their squad, this is their
Mhm.
teammates or their drift or whatever they call it.
yeah,
So I really foresee this being a good thing for the writers. They're going to develop empathy.
that they're not allowed to have.
Exactly, which is what we see when they make the choice to go back to Navarre to fix the wards.
Yeah.
And I hope ultimately at the end we see this like big united college where it's training for everyone and it's
Yeah.
not easier, but it just makes more sense. You're not throwing people off parapets and falling off gauntlets, killing cadets that you need
Yeah.
before a war that you're not ready to fight.
Mhm. Because even when they graduate, they lose a lot of people.
Yeah.
So why are you risking their lives before they even get there and to have a smaller army?
To be the strongest. The dragons
That
want
makes
to take the
no
strongest.
sense.
And I don't think the
Okay,
dragons believe that at all.
No, because they are dying too.
Exactly. So I really liked how this worked out.
Mhm.
And I hope we see an Onyx Storm now that they're back at Navarre, because they've spent their ward chance, right? They took the 7 strongest and they made the ward stone. They fixed it. They have to stay at Navarre. So I hope we see a lot more of that, of the Griffin Riders staying. And
I
I
wondered
wanted
if
to
they
do
would
that.
stay at Basgaeth. I just
Especially because they don't have magic there.
right. So I didn't
And
know
they're not
if they
supposed
would.
to. I can't remember if they end up. I don't know.
they can't go back to Orisha.
Because they're like overrun by Vinin, right?
And King Takaris sent them to Orisha
Right.
because they didn't have a place for them.
yeah.
So they really don't have anywhere else to go.
I mean, basically to strengthen them so that they know how
I
to protect their country.
this might have been foreshadowing I missed, but I do foresee them figuring a way to work the runes and the Flyers wielding abilities around the Wardstone.
We shall see.
Because the Venom can still channel. So if
Yeah.
the Venom can channel, there has to be a workaround.
Yeah. I hate Kat, but I really like. Is her name Mara? I don't remember.
Marin or something.
Yeah, I really like her.
Oh yeah,
her
the
friend-
one that Violet's
because
paired with
she-
for stuff.
like takes nothing out on Violet and like wants to be a teammate, and I really like that. I'm very interested to see more from the Flyers and to see how powerful they end up being. And again, see if they can somehow work their magic while at Basgaeth. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
I mean, we all hated Kat's character, and I think Rebecca knew that everyone was going to hate her.
Right.
And her power pisses me off. I would not be able to be around someone that could heighten my emotions. Because first off, I'm already a fiery person to begin with. Could you imagine someone messing around in my mind and making it worse? I would probably murder someone or be murdered.
And you work in a hospital, so like you can make that happen.
There are lots of
Right?
moments of torture.
And I loved the part where Kat was like, you know that little thing Zayden does with his fingers?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I taught him that. And then Violet's like, thanks.
That
I
was
know.
funny.
I also really did like that Xaden was not going to stop her from killing Kat.
Right?
He
He's
was
like,
going
I will
to
let you
allow
kill her,
it,
but
I know that you will regret it.
You're too humane for this.
Yes.
Like, your humanity will suffer.
Right.
and I loved the part Violet finds out why Kat wants Xaden. It's for his title and his reputation and the land and the queen and throne. And Kat's reply to Violet is, or Kat says, she wants you for your name, and Xaden says, and you love me in spite of it. It's one of the reasons why I'll always choose you.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
Well, and I mean, Kat says Xaden doesn't love anybody.
You're wrong, girl.
F
You're
around
wrong.
and find out.
And then he goes down on her on the throne.
I know, his chair. Anyway.
Speaking of that,
Oh my God.
how was he letting her legitimately into his mind? Is that somehow receiving? But then he says,
But they're all
I shouldn't have done
connected.
that.
But they're all connected.
But that was different. They've been talking
Maybe.
to each other. This was like she was feeling him. Like when she felt Tairn.
Yeah.
And isn't there a signet where you can like view through the person's eyes, like you essentially like
Yes, they did it. Shoot. So that she could see. I don't know. Somebody did it so that one of them could see that the other one was still alive. And I forget how or what dragon it
maybe that.
was. Yeah.
But who did it?
I don't
I
remember.
want to say it was one of the professors or something. They said, show me what you saw.
Yeah. But who did it in the throne room? Was she
She
pulling
saw
his?
Xaden.
But was she pulling?
But his response was, I shouldn't have done that. And we both know he wasn't talking about
Yeah.
the deed. So
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
just so
either.
confused. I just want answers.
know.
And
I
I
feel like
know
I'm thinking
Onyx
too hard about it.
Onyx Storm is just gonna leave me with more freaking questions.
Yes.
Yeah, probably. Also, the other thing that I kind of forgot about just now. I liked that when Xaden and Violet are fighting about Kat, she's like, she's making me feel this. Again, I feel like this was another one of Violet's kind of petty things. She's making me feel this way. And Xaden's like, she physically cannot. You feel this way about you.
Okay, but she didn't know.
You feel this way about me. All you're doing is allowing her to get to you.
She didn't know. She didn't know.
I feel like I should have to
She didn't know she was
between you two.
jealous.
What?
She didn't know she was jealous.
No, because she's never felt that before. So she thought she was putting that into her.
I would argue that she's felt that she's jealous before.
Maybe.
Her brother and Mira. Because she knows her mom loves them more. Or she thinks her mom loves them more. And how Brennan got all the attention. He was the golden child.
I don't know.
Anywho, runes were introduced not only to the readers but to Violet and the whole squad. How do you feel about bringing this type of magic into the book, and how do you think it will play into the next book?
So I obviously think that it's going to be beneficial because I assume the Flyers are going to stay at Besgaeth, and because they cannot practice magic with the wards up, that this is going to help them. So it helps everybody.
Yeah, I was a little overwhelmed when the runes got introduced to the story. Just
It
because
was very,
there was so much going on.
yes.
And Devora
sudden-
trying to teach, or was it Devora, whoever was trying to teach them, you pinch it and you pull it and it's thin air and then you make this and this and this and a circle is this and a square is this. It's a
I
lot.
don't think it was Devara because it was
I think it was someone else. I think it was,
that teacher that does not like Violet very much.
yeah, one of the assembly.
Yeah.
But I think they were brought into this book because they're going to be a huge part in the rest of the story.
Yeah.
And I love that Xaden gave her a book and fabric to practice.
Who would have thought?
So cute.
I know. She didn't know.
And I also love that he gave her daggers with runes to protect her and to help her get out of trouble.
I did like that. That every single
Protecting
dagger he
her
had given
from afar.
was, yeah. Runes are something you see in a ton of fantasy books, and they're in my favorite fantasy series, the Mortal Instruments. It's like literally their language. And they made total sense in that book to me. I'm really having a hard time wrapping my mind around it in this sense because it's so different than that magic system. And I have a really hard time with that. Taking the same thing and having to put it in a whole other context. So I'm a little meh about this, but I do think you're right. I think it's going to be huge because I think this is how the Flyers are going to have power at the sky.
Well, and I really did like how the Flyers, like, they continuously were giving their teammates like runes that they'd perfected so that everyone has the same ability to fight back.
Because not everyone's going to be perfect at doing
all
a
of
water wielding rune.
Right.
But someone might be really good at doing that and someone else might be really good at a protection rune.
Yeah, so I do like that, you know, towards the end, when the writers are leaving and the Flyers are staying, that they're like, take this, it'll help you.
Yeah. So I do think it's going to end up being this big thing. And it's something that you don't have to be a wielder to use.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to create the rune, you know how to have the power. So I mean, I'm not against the idea. I'm just a little overwhelmed with it right now because I feel like a lot of stuff happened in this book, and now you're throwing this whole new.
I feel like it was two
magic
different
series.
books. I'm telling you. Yeah. Okay, so Jack Barlow tells them that the Venin are already among them and can still use some of their power in the wards. What do you think it could be? And while we're talking about the Venin, why do you think they want to capture Violet alive? Is it just for her power?
This was a hard question. Did you make it up yourself, or did you pull this from like a book?
I don't remember. I think I pulled it because I pulled some of them and then some of them I didn't.
This one was hard.
I'm not sure who the Venin are going to be among them. I think it's going to be someone that they think is a friend. I don't think it's going to be someone. I don't think all of them will be people that they consider enemies. And I think that the sage wants her alive. One, yeah, because of her powers. Hold on. Oh, and because Xaden thinks he killed that sage, but there's more than one. He tells him when he's fighting him that he's not the only one.
Because he was a general.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one there at the very end.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not a sage, I'm a general.
And he kept looking to make sure he wasn't coming back after he knew he killed him.
Yeah. So if they have some kind of system of the military where he's a general, so there's going to be more generals. There's going to be people above the generals.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more powerful Venin. And I think the reason why they want to take her alive is that one of the Venin in power is related to them. I think it's either...
What if it's her dad?
I think it's either her dad, Xaden's mom, or the previous writer of Tairn. I think someone close to her.
Now that you say Xaden's mom,
It makes sense because she was
she
disappeared.
left.
I think that's why they want to take him alive.
Ooh, that just gave me the shit.
Did you get that somewhere? Is that pretty
No,
deep dive? You
I don't think
figured
so.
that out.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of you.
I did think. I will say that I thought Xaden's mom and Violet's dad, but I will say the previous writer I did not think of. I saw it somewhere.
I kind
Okay.
of forget that he had a previous writer. Because his mom is so
See?
strong with Violet.
Yeah, but I mean, he keeps telling her, "I chose you to be my last."
Yeah, he tells her that a couple of times in this
Yeah.
book. He's like, if you die, we all die. And
We all done.
Yeah.
So the Venin's power draws straight from the source. So I don't think there's ever a way you could entirely block it from anywhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
If they have contact with the ground, they
they're
have
pulling it
contact
underground. Yes, no matter what wardstone you have, no matter what runes you create, they're gonna be able to get it. So I'm not surprised that there's other Venin. I kind of, I guess maybe I thought maybe King Tory, because you never see him, but he's talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought maybe Melgrin, but I think he's too obvious, and he's Two-Face. Like, we see him, we talk to him, and that's why I also don't think Auric, because it's gotta be someone I think you don't see. Because the minute Xaden turns around, she knows he's Venom, so there's no way they could hide it.
Yeah.
See, Nate said he figured it out when he wouldn't turn around, and I was like, "Shut up, he did not."
I mean, I didn't when I read it the first time.
I did.
Oh yeah, right.
Why else would he not turn around?
I don't know. Keep going.
But I guess that's really it.
How do they become Venom?
Okay, so I tried to ask Nate this question because I thought it was something the Venom did to the person, like gave them something to make them Venom. But this is the way Nate explained it. Instead of drawing power from their dragon, they draw it from the earth.
He's correct, because Xaden explains that to Violet. He said, when I thought that I was going to lose you, I knelt down and put my palm on the ground, and I felt the power underneath the surface.
So why would they do that if they know that they're going to turn?
He did it for love. The other ones did it to be...
So he was
Which
going
is
to
what the
sacrifice
sage said.
himself.
The sage said,
You will do it for
You
love.
will do it for love.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I've got to answer this question now. I just have a lot of questions because, like, obviously, Nate had to explain that to me. Obviously, they want her for her power. I wonder if but they don't know about her. But maybe they do.
I don't know.
I have so many questions.
Like I said, that one's kind of a far reach too.
And
but
It kind of plays into the theory that the seventh breed of dragon was the one that vanquished Venom.
exactly, and they know that Xaden and Violet are these two ultra powerful riders.
But if they got rid of the Venom, how would any of the new Venom know?
I don't
like
know.
a bird knows how to nest, maybe just ingrained. I don't know.
Maybe someone did it by accident.
Maybe.
I don't know. I also want to know how long Jack Harlow has been Venom, because he was obviously Venom when that mountain came on him, because he survived it because he was Venom.
Yeah, and I think that's what Nolan, is that the healer or the mentor's name? I think Nolan was trying to mend.
He was trying to fix
His soul.
Yes. And that's why at the end, Jack Harlow says there's no cure. They tried to cure me. But I do, this is from me, credit. Because I was like, okay, well
Nate
then.
is your TikTok.
I hate him. I don't actually. But because I had said, like, well, why was Jack Harlow nice to her? Like, he saved her life. And he said, I think it's because they were giving him the serum.
I think it's because he couldn't kill her. Because the sage wanted her.
Okay, but that totally ties into your Auric thing, because Jack was Venom when the mountain fell down.
Yes. That's what Nate says.
But we see him in class. She talks to him.
Yes.
He saves her life. So by giving him this serum to detach him from his dragon,
is also detaching him from
the other source.
Apparently it's hiding it somehow.
Because they couldn't tell.
So, okay. And why I guess I'm still confused as to why he killed his dragon. Was it because he was showing them that, like,
I think he had to kill her to break the wardstone. I think it took dragon blood to break it. I think. They don't say that. He
sacrificed his own dragon? That's crazy.
All he cares about is power.
I know, you're right. I mean, he's still obviously very mad at her for bonding the dragon he wanted.
Yeah.
I think he only wanted Tairn because of Tairn's power.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like, that's why he wanted to kill her.
Yeah.
Was because he wanted Tairn's power. But then it makes me think, well, was he Venom then? I don't know. I have a lot of questions.
I feel like that had to have happened around the mountain falling.
Like it happened right before?
Could it have? He saw what was happening, so he reaches into the ground for power to save himself?
Maybe
you're right.
But how did he know about Venom?
Maybe he did it.
Maybe it was accidental?
Yeah, like unintentionally. He just...
That's what I'm
How
thinking,
did he get back to Vizgaiath? I have so many questions now.
How did they know he was...
You know what makes me really nervous that I just thought about too?
I know. I hate that.
Who was the guy that tortured
Varish.
Varish.
VOS. Yeah.
What if he's a venom?
Well, he's dead. But what if he's...
But is he?
I don't know. Dane killed him. But I mean...
But he
Did
didn't
she-
kill him with a rune dagger, did he?
I was gonna say, did she stab him with a?
And they left.
Yeah.
Right after.
What if he's
But
alive?
her mom knew that he was dead. Because she was coming to save her once she found out what he was doing
True.
to her, right?
You would think she would go down and check.
Right.
I would hope. I just have a bad feeling he's gonna come back.
Well, she killed his dragon. Right? This last time, she killed his dragon in the cave?
And Darna did.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if his dragon. Well, but killing your dragon doesn't kill you if you're
But their
a
bond
venom
has
because
been...
Jack didn't die.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because the source power overrides the dragon power.
And
I
he
feel
was
like the more we talk
proving...
about this, the more questions I
I know.
Okay,
And
we
he
gotta
was
move on.
proving him to the other writers that, like, they
He's so
don't
much
need
more
us.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's me. Most memorable scenes and or favorite events from the book.
Throughout the whole book, I just really love Tairn and Darna.
Mm-hmm.
Their constant bickering, her teenage adolescence rebellion, her killing all the sheep in Orisha. Brendan had to go find more flocks of sheep to import into the valley. Like, I just think that's so funny. I really liked the throne scene, and I really liked that when Felix is training Violet, she's kind of used to people blowing smoke up her butt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're so strong. You're weak, but you're so strong. Your signet's so powerful. And then Felix is like, okay, you can't even aim that little lightning bolt, so I don't know what you think you're doing. What good's a gun without a bullet and someone that can shoot it? Like, it just doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. And she's like offended. She's like personally offended. And he gives her the... I think she wears the bracelet.
Or
Yeah, the
thing.
orb sucker, whatever it's called. And she's like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
and she like keeps blowing him up essentially.
Yes! Like, she's imbuing them with too much power. And I kind of liked that he kicked her on her butt a little bit. And he's like, you might think you're strong, but you are worthless in a fight until you can aim. Because all you're going to do is shoot all your friends out of the sky. There's going to be dragons with holes in their wings.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, nuts. Guess you're right. And then by the end, we see her, like,
Understanding
hitting
it.
things.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny. It really took someone to, like, wallop her a bit and be like,
Yeah.
you're not all that in a bag of
Because
chips.
Carr just wanted to, like, see her be powerful. And then Varish wanted her to burn out.
Exactly.
Like,
and that all
Do you
ties
think
back
Carr's
in with,
offended?
like, Mira, too.
huh? I don't think so.
I don't think
because
so.
I don't think that he's actually as bad as Varish. I think he just doesn't get...
Because he does try to save her there. He's like, I think
Yes.
she's had enough. And Barrett's just like,
Yeah.
one more.
Right. I don't think he's
Um,
actually cruel. I think he does have the writers...
But why wouldn't you teach her how to use her signet correctly?
Well, it's the
I
same
don't
thing
know
with
that he
Mira,
knows
too.
how.
She should have been able to create her own wards.
But-
Especially from the beginning.
Didn't teach
And
her how to
she
do it.
cannot until the end of this
Yeah.
book.
But also, is he protecting everybody?
True, because
by
if he
not
creates... Or if not
perfecting their power.
create, yeah. If he makes them this
I do think he has
superhero.
all of the writers' best interest at heart. Yeah. But I could be wrong.
No.
Okay, so I have quotes that I really liked, and they're all from Satan.
Wow.
So I know I'm a changed woman.
He's still not doing
I know. Okay. So, on page 323.
In your reference books.
Yes. Please pull out your Bibles while we read this scripture together.
323.
Yes.
I bet it's one I have highlighted.
Probably. Okay. It's when they're talking and she says, like, we can't go, they'll follow us, you'll forfeit Gaia's weapons, and you'll lose everything you've worked for. And he says, but I'll have everything I need. I will happily watch Orisha burn to the ground again if it means you live. And she says, you don't mean that. And he says, I do. I'm sorry if you expect me to do the noble thing. I warned you. I'm not sweet or soft or kind, and you fell anyway. This is what you get, Violet, me. The good, the bad, the unforgivable. All of it. I am yours. You want to know something true, something real? I love you. I'm in love with you. I know, I love that. It happened since the night the snow fell in your hair and you kissed me for the first time. I'm grateful my life is tied to yours because it means I won't have to face a day without you in it. My heart only beats as long as yours does, and when you die, I'll meet Malik at your side. I love that. And then there's another part that
I'll meet Malik at your side.
I know. There's another part where she says, or he says, you're capable of hurting me in ways I'm not sure you've even begun to fathom. Violet, I might be skilled enough to land a death blow, but you alone have the power to destroy me.
God love him.
Zayden had a lot
Malik,
of
love
good
him.
quotes.
And then there's one from
I
Tairn
know,
that
I made a post about it.
There's one from Tairn that I really liked. It said, you must save yourself. I chose you not as my next, but as my last, and should you fall, then I will follow. Okay.
That's exactly what I had. I just, for someone that's supposed to be this like big strong character, he
Is
really emotional, and he
Yeah.
is really vulnerable. And one I really liked, I had to flip through to find it, was you didn't fall for an ordinary rider. You fell for the leader of a revolution. And I kept thinking about that when I went back to he's keeping secrets. She didn't fall for a rider. She fell for the leader of a war. And she comes to terms with that in the end of the book, that there's going to be things she's not going to know. And I just kept like referencing that quote in my head. I was like,
But
this is his life now.
But he does say that he will always be honest with her when it came to him. And I just stopped her anyway. I still
That
love
is
him.
true.
I still love him.
That is true.
But
He did say that.
But I am on Violet's side too.
I just kind of made a list of my favorite things about this book, and Darna was one. I loved her. I loved her character. It's just cute, and the banter is fantastic. Zayden writing her letters, trying to open up to her. I thought that was a really cute.
I did
excerpt
like that.
from the
Yes.
chapters.
Again, I felt like that was a different book. I keep forgetting that happened.
Saloon, I love her. I knew I was going to love her, even though she was hateful to Violet at the beginning. I knew I was going to love her because she was Liam's sister.
And you knew she was eventually going to understand what really happened and that it wasn't her fault. And he loved her.
And she kind of
Her
admits
friend.
she knew that all along. Like,
She told Violet that I know it wasn't your fault.
I'm mad at Zayden for forcing him into this, but I'm also mad at him for just doing it. Like, for being that good of a person.
Yeah.
I loved seeing Liam again.
Oh, I know. I did not see that.
That broke
and that
me.
Whether it was really him or just her imagination, he got her through it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
And it was the best person to hallucinate.
right. And at the end of book one, she got him through dying.
Yeah. I loved the open conversation that Zayden and Violet had at the end of chapter 48. It's after the throne scene. I'm on my iPad. They just have a really open dialogue at the end of that chapter, and it's really good.
There's so many chapters.
And
48.
yeah,
49.
and Mira, is that how you say her sister's name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mira punching Brennan in the face.
Oh my gosh, I
I loved
know.
it. That was amazing.
I know.
I love the whole book, but those are my highlight reels.
I liked, it's in the chapter you referenced 48 after the whole throne thing. And Zayden says, sorry to inconvenience you, but this year the role of Violet Sorrengail will be played by Zayden Ryerson.
Oh, I
Who
love
will
that.
drag her kicking and screaming if he has to into a real relationship with real discussions because he refuses to lose her again. If I have to evolve, You do too.
I know,
I love it. I love being
I
in that
really
chapter.
liked that. I liked that a lot. I was trying to find some of my Riddick quotes because
Gosh, I love
do
him.
love him.
He's the comedic relief we all need.
and I like you mentioned the whole finger thing, and Violet looks at Kat and she's like, "Thanks for that," and Riddick is like, "I love you. Anyone hungry? I woke up somewhere. I hadn't exactly planned on missing breakfast." It's just
I know.
he's so funny. And then I liked when Garrick said, I really like Garrick a lot too.
Oh,
I
I
hope
do
we have more
I
him
wish
and
we had
Imogen.
seen more.
Yeah.
From him. Now, are
Um,
they officially together?
I don't think so.
But she is like in love with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I like when he comes back into the picture because we really only see him a few times in the book.
Yeah.
And he said, "Just doing my part to help your communication skills thrive in a stable relationship."
Because
And
he
then-
tells Violet some things they didn't want her to know.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Imogen says, "Like you have any room to talk about stable relationships." And he says, "I'm going to skip the obvious pun to be made about plenty of mares in my stable." So no, they're not together.
Okay.
That's plenty of mares in his stable.
Yeah, I like them. I love
Dialogue
Riddick
is
and
just-
Sawyer together. They're hilarious.
Yes. It's just she balances the funny and the comedic relief so well with the heavy.
It's so well written.
Sexual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And it blows my mind that this is her first dance.
yeah.
Like-
There's not too much of anything.
No, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
I mean, I gifted out the miscommunication trope thing, but
Mhm.
it-
it's
it
just
fits.
perfect. I
Yeah.
know.
it fits so well.
Yeah.
I think we finally might be near the end. What foreshadowing did you catch while reading, and what did you think of the outcome? So, I'm sorry, I can't read.
I did not catch this. I watched the video.
See, I'm not the only one.
Well, I don't even think it was a video. I think it was a post that someone like screenshot their Kindle, and it was about Jacinia being the what?
I think you
Scribe
sent that to us
Conjurant,
because you were like, "It's in the beginning of the book."
the curator. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the dedication almost.
And people are like, I think everybody's gonna die, and she's retelling it, which I go first. And I know. So and people are like, oh, what I just said, I think everybody's gonna die, and she's like retelling their story or whatever. But I honestly don't think that because they're finding books from what other people had written. She has Brennan's journal. I just think that since she's gonna be whatever I just said,
Curator.
yeah, the curator, that she's keeping those records, because so many things have been hidden from them or not allowed to be read. I think that she's just making sure that things are recorded and kept. And I could totally be off base with that, but I think as the curator, she's doing her job.
See, I think kind of the opposite.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe not the opposite. I think major people die. By the end of the
Oh,
series, I think
Yes, but I
like,
don't.
Xaden or Violet are dead, I think, at the end of this book.
I don't know how they're gonna make that happen.
And I think if one of them dies, they all die.
But I don't think they would kill off both main characters.
And I think that because in her little excerpt, she says, "May their souls be sent to."
Well, she could be dead too.
Committed to Mount.
She could be dead too by the time this is being shared.
Maybe they all die.
Let me
I
look
don't
at
know
it.
either.
Let me look at it again.
But when I read that, that was like
I guess I missed that part.
that was the gut feeling I got from reading it. Is
Okay.
that, and I could be wrong, and
Which-
she could just be talking about the people that did die, because some people are gonna die.
Right.
But that's
And
that's
maybe
just-
she's like 90 years old at this point.
right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I know that things are going to happen in Onyx Storm, and people are going to be left like sad and confused. That's all I know. I don't know details of that. I just know that that is going to happen.
I'm flipping back through my foreshadowing tabs, and a lot of what I tagged was stuff we found out like a few chapters later.
Yes. I'm just gonna be so mad.
So like that one didn't really.
Divergent 2.0.
I'll kill somebody. Like, take Riddick. I don't want him to go, but take Riddick. I'll take Zayden.
One of them I had was on page 233, and it's when her dagger unlocks the door.
Because the ring.
Exactly. And she had talked in previous books about them being decorative and pretty and designed. We didn't know they were runes, but that was obviously foreshadowing to the fact that they had powers that we weren't aware of. Never would have guessed that's what it was, but I did have a little tabby. The other thing I had tabbed was in here before. This is page 236, and it's before they leave, before everyone finds out. Before they're reach and everything, and we find out that wasn't it Devara types up this propaganda thing for Battle Brief,
Yeah.
and she puts in there the blue fire dragons. So I had notated blue, thinking maybe it's just the blue dragons. The blue dragons are rare, blah, blah, blah. But then a little bit later, it says people didn't understand the misplacement of the word blue.
Because it's blue fire.
Blue fire.
Yeah.
So I was taking notes because by the end of the book, we see three different colors of fire.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head what they are right now.
Red, green, and blue.
Yeah, blue, green. So, but we also have red, green, and blue dragons. So do we have wyvern that are black, orange, brown, and especially Andarna fire? Potential foreshadowing, I don't really know. That's what
Do their different color fire do different things?
That's the question. I don't know.
I also love that Devera, that she left with them.
Yeah. I really wanted Kaori to as well, but he
And
had
wanted
to
to,
at the
like,
Empyrean.
When
Yes.
Zayden was hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she like
I
scratched
know.
her.
Like, she was clearly on their side the whole time.
The other thing was we saw foreshadowing before Sloane ever even brought up, misunderstood the question, because on page 302, Quinn is talking when she was pretending to look like Imogen and Violet to do different things. And she said, I don't have to worry about going mad like those whose dragons spawned in the direct familial line. Dragons aren't supposed to even get close to family lines for that exact reason. But they listen to human rules. And then we get the whole Sloane.
That was when she was trying to protect her from Barish. Or,
No,
like,
that's
make
when
it
right before
seem-
Solus comes out. Oh yes, but the one I
But
just
she
read.
would,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I had some things highlighted about runes, but like I said,
Okay,
it all
so
seems
the
like a lot.
runes, the daggers with the runes are what killed the Venom?
Yes.
Is it
The
No, no,
daggers
no.
that are made out of alloy.
Alloy.
Oh, alloy. Okay.
And I had highlighted the third dream that Violet has. You won't do it for something as trite as power or as easily satiable as greed, but for the most illogical of mortal emotions, love, or you'll die. You both will. But I didn't think it was going to be Zayden that turned.
That was in her dream?
That's what the sage says to her.
Okay.
And
I
then
also wonder if there's some
He
foreshadowing.
said the same thing at the end.
I know.
Right?
I'm looking to see if it's the exact same quote.
Oh, okay.
Because now
Which
I'm
is
curious.
crazy that they would have like the same dream, but that is the sage messing with them.
Yeah.
I do believe that.
To Zayden, he said, I told you once that you'd turn for love, and so you shall. Which is what made me think that they weren't her dreams. She was somehow seeing his.
Which maybe.
But she was picturing herself in the dream though.
Yeah.
Is that because she
Because
doesn't know how to control power yet?
I just assumed it was because she fought him. Or her.
So many questions.
I know. We better wrap it up before our listeners hate us.
I have to pick up my kids.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Overall rating.
5 stars.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6 stars, 10 stars, all the stars.
Real quick, what was your favorite read since the last podcast?
Okay, I have two. If you like cowboys, and Dark BDSM, Give Sovereign, and Weston by Rhea Morris Edwards a listen. They are fantabulous. And I finally jumped on the Lights Out bandwagon. Thank you, Brittany. I got the dual narration off of Hoopla in one day. And
It's also available on Spotify.
all I'm going to say is mask, stalking, voice modulator, cat child. 25 bajillion stars.
I'm so excited. I'm reading the exact opposite of Masked Stalkers right now. I'm reading the Dream Harbor books. They're really cute. It's the cinnamon bun.
Oh, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe
Bookstore.
and
Oh, that's
okay.
right.
They're so cute. They're easy reads. I read one today. I read it in the day. Rom-com, little spice, and you just fall in love with the characters. They're so good.
I don't know that I have a favorite because one I read for book club and I didn't understand it, so I had to start over, and then I had to fly through it because I was going to be late finishing it. So I really didn't get like the whole.
Book Club?
Yeah.
That was a good one though. If you like,
Which I told my mom I thought she would like it, so I gave her the book.
it's based off a true
It
woman.
is, yes.
It's written by Ariel Lawhon, and it was called Codename
Codename-
Hélène.
Yes.
It was fabulous. Very long. I did the audiobook, but her
Yes.
Australian accent is superb.
Yeah, she does a
Very
good
good.
job.
Very good book.
So I wish I would have started sooner, paid more attention. I also read The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda, and I did really like that. I'm reading a series right now. It's a Polycon author. Her name is Geneva Lee, and she wrote this series called Filthy Rich Vampires. And I liked the first one, but I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to finish this series now. So I don't really have a favorite book I've read since the last podcast. If I had to pick, it would be The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda. It was just meh.
Well, thank you for tuning in to this extremely long episode
I'm so sorry.
from Girls Comic Book Clubbin', where we covered all things and probably extras of Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. We will be back in 2 weeks to finish out our journey into the Empyrean series with Onyx Storm. In the meantime, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Bye!
Bye.